My name is James Morrison, and my hands are still shaking as I tell this story. When I started working as a royal guard at Windsor Castle, I thought our life would be perfect. A good salary, a prestigious job, a nice life for my family. But in my first week, I found Samuel Westwood's traces, and those traces dragged me into a nightmare that consumed my family. Now I know that Windsor is not just a castle. It is the mouth of a monster whose hunger is never satisfied. It was August 2025. Windsor Castle had reopened after 6 months of renovation. When they hired me, they said they had updated the security protocols. None of the old guards remained. They had all been transferred to other positions. There was only me and 4 new colleagues. The thing they constantly emphasized during my orientation training on my first day: forget the past, focus only on the future. But some pasts are buried too deep to forget. During my second shift, while doing a routine check, I found a forgotten cabinet in the old security room. Inside were the personal belongings of someone named Samuel Westwood, his notebook, photos, and most disturbingly, a USB drive. When I opened that USB, my life changed completely. Working at Windsor Castle was every security guard's dream. My old naval background had landed me the job. Emma was thrilled. My 12-year-old son, Tom, and 9-year-old daughter, Lucy, loved our new home near Windsor. "Daddy, will we see the Queen?" Lucy asked on the first day. "Maybe, sweetheart. But our job is to protect them, not disturb them." The first week was perfect. Modern security systems, a professional team, clear instructions. But something felt strange. When I talked to the other guards, none of them wanted to talk about Windsor's past. "Where are the old guards?" I asked Shift Leader Clark. "They've been transferred. Just focus on the new procedures, Morrison." On my third night, while patrolling the East Wing, I noticed something strange. There was fresh paint in some places on the walls. It was as if something had been covered up. Looking closely, I could see the shadows of old markings, symbols underneath. That night, I told Emma about it at home. "James, you're being paranoid. It's an old castle. Of course, there will be renovation work. But Emma, it's as if something is being hidden. You watch too many thriller movies. Go to sleep." But I couldn't sleep. That night, in my dream, I heard strange sounds deep within the castle. Murmurs, screams, and a word repeated over and over: "Noom, Noom." At the end of the second week, while doing a routine inventory check, I found a forgotten cabinet behind the old security room. The lock was broken, and it was covered in dust. Inside were the personal belongings of the previous guard. I learned his name from his ID card: Samuel Westwood, 42 years old, experienced security guard. Among his belongings was a handwritten notebook. When I opened the first page, my hair stood on end. "If you're reading this, it means they've brought you too. Be very careful. Terrible things are happening under Windsor. Your family may be in danger." As I turned the pages, I was horrified. Samuel talked about the royal family's secret rituals, underground complexes, and beings called guardians. There was a note on the last page: "If you find these notes, check the USB. But be careful. They're watching everything." That night, I opened the USB at home. It contained audio recordings, photos, and video files. When I opened the first audio recording, I heard Samuel's trembling voice. This recording is dated February 15th, 2025. My name is Samuel Westwood, and if you find me, I'm probably already dead. I'm storing these recordings in a safe place, because the world needs to know the truth. The recording continued. A millennia-old cult operates beneath Windsor Castle. The royal family is the modern face of this cult. They steal human energy and use it for longevity. Worst of all, children are the most targeted group. My heart stopped. Children, looking at the photos, made me sick. Robed figures in underground, chambers, strange symbols, and worst of all, unconscious children lying in the middle. I didn't dare open one of the video files. Just reading the title was enough. Sarah's Ritual, February 15, MP4. The next morning, I decided to tell Emma everything. After breakfast, when the kids had left for school, I showed her the USB drive. Emma, this is serious. This man disappeared while trying to rescue his daughter. Emma's face grew pale as she listened to the recordings. James, could this be real? I don't know, but we need to investigate, and we need to protect the children. What are we going to do? We'll keep being careful, and I'll follow Samuel's trail. Just then, the doorbell rang. Outside were two of my colleagues from Windsor. Morrison, there's an urgent situation. You need to come to the castle immediately. At the emergency meeting in the castle, shift leader Clark spoke with a serious expression. Morrison, it has been reported that you conducted an unauthorized search in the security rooms last night. I was just doing a routine check. What routine check requires opening that cabinet? The ice melted inside me. They were watching me. That cabinet was open. It was my job to check inside. Morrison, I'm telling you straight. Don't concern yourself with matters outside your area of responsibility. Here, we only think about today and tomorrow. On my way home, I felt like I was being followed. When I looked in the rearview mirror, there was a dark-colored car. Emma's face was worried when she opened the door. James, we got a strange call from Tom's school today. What kind of call? They said someone who knows Tom well was waiting for him after school, but they don't know who it was. At that moment, everything became clear. Samuel's story was repeating itself, and this time, my children were the target. That night at 3 a.m., strange noises came from Tom's room. When I went to check, my son was asleep, but he was mumbling. Tom, wake up, son. When he opened his eyes, he wasn't normal. They were much brighter and unfamiliar. Dad, I hear voices. They're calling me. What voices, Tom? From below. Very deep, they say. It's time for me to come. Shivering, I woke Tom up. When he returned to normal, he remembered nothing. But I knew. The system had started targeting my children. The next day, I bravely examined Samuel's files in more detail. His notes said his family had been forced to move for security reasons. One of his last entries contained an address. In case of emergency, take Emma and the children to this safe house. Northampton, Oak Street, 47. It could be some kind of safe house network. Samuel had prepared an escape plan for his family, but at the end of the notes was a terrible truth. Escaping the system is impossible. They operate worldwide. The only hope is to destroy the system completely. Night was falling. While the children were eating, I signaled to Emma. Emma, you're going on a short vacation with the kids today. What vacation, James? I found a safe place in Northampton. You'll stay there until I sort things out. James, I'm scared. I'm scared too. But we have to protect the children. Tom raised his head. Dad, in my dream there was a man underground. He also said, we have to protect the children. My blood ran cold. Was Samuel still trying to communicate somehow? The next morning I got Emma and the kids into the car early. We were heading to the address in Northampton. Tom and Lucy thought it was just a short vacation. Dad, aren't you coming? Lucy asked. I'll be back in a few days, sweetheart. Take good care of your mom and Tom. I hugged Emma one last time. I whispered in her ear. Call the number in Samuel's notes. You'll be safe at that house. I'll be back. James, please be careful. My heart ached as I watched their car drive away. I risked losing them while trying to save them. But I had no other choice. On my way back to Windsor, I noticed the same dark-colored car following me. This time, they weren't letting me go. When I went to my shift that day, shift leader Clark's attitude had changed. He was colder, more analytical. Morrison, where's your family? They're on a short vacation. Where? Why does it matter? Clark smiled, but it wasn't a normal smile. It was very slow, very calculated. Morrison, family safety is very important here. We need to know where they are. My private life is none of your business. Nothing is private here, Morrison. You'll learn that. That day, while on patrol, I constantly felt like I was being watched. The other guards were eyeing me strangely, as if they needed to realize something. During the night shift, I bravely started listening to the other recordings on Samuel's USB drive. The second recording was even more terrifying. This recording is dated February 20th. Today I found Margaret frozen, under a spell. They took Sarah back. Now I know there is no escape, but at least I can warn other families. Third recording, February 25th. The system contacted me. They're bringing me back in, but I have a plan. I found the weak points in the underground complex, if someone follows these clues. The recording abruptly ended. The fourth recording was much more disturbing. March 1st. This is probably my last recording. They brought me back in, but I realized the system isn't just in Windsor. It's in every major castle, every royal residence. This is much bigger. If anyone is going to continue this fight, they can't do it alone. They have to organize. Final recording. If you're listening to this, go underground. But don't go alone. And most importantly, they're targeting children. Children are more suitable for energy transfer. Protect your own children. When the recording ended, my hands were shaking. Samuel's voice sounded very different in the last recording. It was as if he wasn't quite himself anymore. That night at 2 a.m., I decided to find the underground entrance mentioned in Samuel's notes. According to his old plans, there was a secret passage under the east wing. I was very careful as I descended the service stairs. I was using the blind spots of the security cameras. When I reached the first level, everything looked normal. But I found the secret button Samuel mentioned in his notes. It was behind a stone block on the wall. When I pressed the button, the wall slid open. Behind it was a modern elevator. I didn't dare go inside, but I looked at the elevator buttons. They were lower floor levels, B1, B2, B3, going down to B7. Samuel's notes referred to level B5 as the ritual chambers. With the elevator door open, I heard sounds coming from below. At first it just sounded like the hum of machinery, but when I listened more closely, there were human voices, not screams but murmurs, as if many people were repeating the same thing at the same time. Num vocatus est, num vocatus est. Words I heard in Samuel's recordings. At that moment, the elevator suddenly started moving. Someone was coming up from below. I immediately exited through the secret passage, and the wall closed. I waited quietly in the corridor. A few minutes later, I heard footsteps on the service stairs. 2 people were coming up. I recognized their voices, Clark and one of the other guards. We need to find out where Morrison sent the family. Clark, said, "That won't be hard. We'll start searching in Northampton." My blood ran cold. They were after Emma and the children. I immediately tried to call Emma, but her phone wasn't answering. I tried the emergency numbers in Samuel's notes. On the third try, someone answered. It was an old woman's voice. "Morrison?" "Yes. How did you know?" "Samuel mentioned us. Your family is safe, but you are in great danger." "They're after my family. We know. We're transferring them here tonight, to a safer place." "Where?" "We can't talk on this phone. Be at Regent's Park tomorrow night at 11 p.m. by the lake, alone." The phone hung up. The next night, I decided to go deeper. This time, I went down to level B3. When the elevator doors opened, the sight before me took my breath away. It was like a modern medical center. White corridors, medical equipment. But this was no ordinary hospital. The people walking down the corridor moved with that familiar slow gait. I peered into a room. There were beds inside, and children were lying in them, unconscious, calm, but breathing. The most shocking thing, there were medical-like devices at the children's heads. These devices seemed to be drawing something from them. Energy transfer. What Samuel had mentioned was real. At that moment, I heard footsteps in the hallway. Someone was coming. I quickly hid in the nearest room. Inside were medical instruments and files. I opened one of the files. It contained photos and identity information of children. The top file had a familiar photo, Tom. My son's file was already prepared. It said his date of birth, blood type, and energy compatibility test, A+. The file below it was Lucy's. She was also marked as compatible. I was shaking with fear and anger. These monsters had already targeted my children. As I tried to get out into the hallway, I ran into Clark. We were both surprised. "Morrison, what are you doing here?" I got lost. I was looking for the service stairs." Clark's eyes changed. They weren't normal eyes anymore. Much brighter, much colder. "Morrison, how did you get down here?" "The elevator." "Which elevator? There's no access to this level." "I was caught. Clark, I was just—" At that moment, Clark's hand touched my shoulder. It was like the touch Samuel had described. Ice cold, yet burning at the same time. "Morrison, it's time you learned the truth." I went deeper with Clark. This time we went to level B7, the lowest level. When the doors opened, what I saw was the most terrifying sight of my life. A huge ceremonial hall, a massive platform in the center, hundreds of people around the platform. But these weren't normal people. Some were familiar faces. Members of the royal family, politicians, businessmen. But their eyes all shone the same way. On the platform lay a young man. He had those strange devices on him. "Welcome, Morrison," said a familiar voice, the ceremony master. But this time he was even more frightening. His old age was more pronounced, but he also looked much stronger. "You followed Samuel's trail. Very good. Now you can take his place." "Never." "Morrison, you have no choice. Think of your children." Suddenly, images of Tom and Lucy appeared on the large screen. They weren't in the safe house. They were lying in a room, unconscious. "What have you done to them?" "Nothing yet, but we will decide what happens based on your decision." When I saw Tom and Lucy lying unconscious on the screen, my knees buckled. My children were powerless and defenseless under those terrifying machines. "What do you want?" I asked the ceremony master. "What Samuel did. Work for us. In exchange, your children's safety." "What kind of work?" bringing new families into the system. You're an experienced guardian. People trust you. I saw the young man on the platform. Thin lines of energy emanated from his body, transferring to the robed figures around him. What are you doing to these children? We take their life energy. In return, we live long. We stay strong. That's how the system works. Are these children dying? Not all of them. The strong ones survive, but they change. The weak ones contribute to the system. My anger exploded. You are sick, sick people. We are the survivors, Morrison, and you will survive with us. When the ceremony master raised his hand, the screen zoomed in on the room where Tom was lying. There was a medical-looking device at my son's head, but it wasn't working yet. If you accept now, we'll release your children. If you refuse. The device on the screen started working, and Tom began writhing in pain. Okay, I accept. Stop it. The device stopped immediately. Tom returned to normal. Very smart, Morrison. Now we'll prepare you for your task. They took me to a small room next to the platform. It contained the same kind of files Samuel used. Target families, families with children, and plans to recruit them into the system. Your first target is the Johnson family. The father is a retired police officer, 2 children. You'll make contact with them tomorrow. That night, in the temporary room I was given, I checked the latest files on Samuel's USB drive. I found a secret folder, Emergency Plan Phase 2. It contained encrypted notes. Samuel had used a code system. At the top of the notes was a clue to decrypt them. My daughter's birth date pools, the year Windsor was founded. After thinking for a while, I figured it out. When I combined Sarah's birthday and the year Windsor was founded, it opened. Inside was an incredible plan. If they caught me, and you're reading this message, initiate Phase 2. Find the main power center at level B6. All the system's power comes from there. But be careful. The system isn't only in Windsor, but Windsor is the main center. If you destroy it, the others will weaken too. The plan details were as follows. The main power source is at B6. You can short-circuit the water system and crash the entire electronic network. But timing is crucial. If you do it during the ritual, all the powerful members will be there, and the effect will be maximum. Most importantly, to save the children, you must first disconnect them from the energy bond. There's an antidote lab in B4. You can find the neutralization serum there. The next night, as planned, I went to meet with the Johnson family. I made them a job offer, but my mind was on my children. At midnight, I went underground again. This time, I went to level B4. Thanks to Samuel's map, I found the lab. Inside there were various chemicals and syringes. While reading the labels on a cabinet, I found a bottle labeled Energy Bond Neutralizer. I was careful when I took it. I took 2 doses in my pocket, for Tom and Lucy. But then I noticed something strange in the lab. The photos on the wall. There were before and after photos of children, including Samuel's daughter, Sarah. Sarah's eyes in the after photo were completely different. Bright, cold, inhuman. On the 3rd day, the ceremony master took me to see the children. For motivation, he said. In the room at B3, Tom and Lucy were conscious but very quiet. They smiled when they saw me, but it wasn't a normal smile. "Dad," said Tom, "it's really nice here. They're teaching us new things." "What kind of things?" "Special things. We hear voices in our heads. They tell us the truth." Lucy spoke, too. Dad, you should stay with us. Everyone here is very powerful. That familiar sparkle was back in my children's eyes. The system had begun to change them. Kids, don't you miss your mom? Whose mom? Asked Tom. My heart stopped. They had begun to erase their memories. That night, I went to the children's rooms with the neutralizer serum in my pocket. There was less security on the night shift. When I entered Tom's room, he was asleep. I injected him in the arm. He woke up immediately and his eyes returned to normal. Dad, is that you? Where am I? Where's Mom? Shh, Tom, be quiet. I'll get you out of here. I went to Lucy's room. I injected her too. She also returned to normal. Dad, this place is so scary. I want to go home. Okay, sweetheart, we're leaving. But footsteps came from the hallway. We were being caught. Clark and 2 guards appeared in the hallway. Morrison, what are you doing? I was checking on my children. Where are you trying to take them? Tom and Lucy were trembling behind me. They remembered everything now. At that moment, Tom shouted, Dad, these men kidnapped us. Clark's eyes flashed. Morrison, you made a huge mistake. The guards advanced toward us. But this time they weren't moving normally. They were much faster, much more threatening. One of them tried to grab Tom. I stepped in and started fighting him. But this guardian was different from the others. He was much stronger, much more resilient. My fists had no effect on him. Then someone came from the other end of the corridor. At first I didn't recognize anyone, but when I heard his voice, I was shocked. James, over here. It was Samuel. He was alive, but he had changed. He looked much older, and there was a strange gleam in his eyes. Samuel, aren't you dead? Long story. Run now. Samuel showed us the emergency exit. There was a hidden staircase next to the service elevator. We ran with the kids. Samuel was coming from behind, trying to stop the guards. As we climbed the stairs, Samuel shouted, James, remember Phase 2. Tonight is your last chance. What do you mean? Tonight is the big ritual. All the powerful members in the system will be here. Destroy the main power source in B6. When we reached the main floor, the security alarms started blaring. The entire castle was in chaos. I got Tom and Lucy into the car. Dad, who was Uncle Samuel. He's a hero who saved your life, Tom. As I started the car, I looked in the rearview mirror. Armed men were coming out of Windsor and following us. Kids, duck down. We're going fast. Just then, my phone rang. Unknown number. Morrison, if you want your children safe, come back. By the end of tonight, said the voice of the ceremony master. Never. Then we'll find you anywhere in the world. The system isn't just in England, Morrison. We're everywhere. I hung up, but I was scared. They really could be anywhere. When we arrived at the safe house in Northampton, Emma was waiting for us. At the door, she started crying when she saw the children. What did they do to them? They tried to erase their memories, but I intervened in time. Tom and Lucy hugged their mother, but they were both still trembling. Dad, said Lucy, are they coming back? I don't know, sweetheart, but I'll try to stop them. The old woman came out of the safe house. She was the person Samuel had mentioned. Morrison, we've been waiting for you. The children are safe, but you have one more job to do. What job? To complete Samuel's plan. Tonight is your last chance. If you miss tonight, the system will regain its strength, and no one will be able to stop them. I hugged Emma one last time in the safe house. The children were asleep, but Lucy was still murmuring in her sleep. James, do you have to go? Emma, if I miss tonight, they'll never leave us alone. I have a chance to save thousands of children from this world The old woman gave me special equipment, tools needed for the water system sabotage, night vision goggles, and most importantly, Samuel's complete plans. "Morrison, Samuel left you a message," said the old woman. "He'll be waiting for you in B6. But be careful. He's not quite the same anymore." "What do you mean?" "The system affected him, too. He's still fighting, but there are dark parts inside him." I returned to Windsor at 10 p.m. The castle seemed to be operating normally, but the atmosphere was different. It was as if there was an electrical tension in the air. Clark saw me as I passed through security. "Morrison, you're finally back." I had to protect my children. Of course. Tonight is a special night. There's a grand ceremony. You'll be attending. Perfect timing. During the grand ceremony, security attention would be focused on the ceremony. At 11:30 p.m., I took the secret elevator down to level B6. This place was very different from the other levels. It looked much older, much more primitive. The corridors had stone walls, but modern cables and pipes ran through them. A strange mix of old and new. According to Samuel's plans, the main power room was at the end of the corridor. As I walked, I saw symbols on the walls. These weren't just decorative. They were actually emitting energy. When my hand approached, there was a slight electric sensation. Samuel was waiting for me at the door to the main power room, but when I saw him up close, I was shocked. Part of his eyes were normal. Part of them glowed with that familiar sparkle. His face was very tired, but also very determined. "James, you're here." "Samuel, are you okay?" "It depends on how you define. Okay, am I still me? Yes. But now I'm also more than that." "What do you mean?" "The system couldn't completely take me over. But while resisting it, a part of it remained in me. That's how I'm able to learn its plans." He gestured toward the interior of the room. There were massive machines, energy cables, and a large crystal in the center. The crystal was constantly emitting light. "What's that?" I asked, pointing at the crystal. "It's the heart of the system. Thousands of years of energy are stored in this crystal. Energy is sent from here to other centers around the world." The crystal really did have a hypnotic beauty. Looking at it stirred very strange feelings. "James, don't stare at it too long. It could affect you too." "How do we destroy it?" "The water system. If we redirect the main water pipe to the crystal, it will cause an electrical short circuit. But be careful. The explosion will be huge." At that moment, I heard sounds coming from above, drum beats chanting, and that familiar word, "Noom." "The big ritual has begun," said Samuel. "We don't have much time." Samuel pointed to the location of the main water pipe. It was a large pipe running behind the wall. "We need to break this pipe and redirect it to the crystal. But the pipe is very sturdy." I started working with the tools I had brought. The sabotage techniques I learned in my old sailor training came in handy. As I drilled into the pipe, Samuel warned me. "James, I need to tell you something. This won't just affect Windsor." "What do you mean?" "When the crystal is gone, it will affect all connected people worldwide. Their power will be cut off, but some may not survive." "Including you?" Samuel was silent. "Samuel, will you be affected too?" "Probably." My hands trembled. Could I kill Samuel? "Samuel, is there no other way?" "James, right. Now there are hundreds of children in their hands around the world. New ones are being kidnapped every day. This system must be stopped." He was right, but killing a friend. "James, there's no time." The voices from above were growing louder. The grand ritual was reaching its climax. I finished drilling the water pipe. Now I just had to turn the valve to direct the water into the crystal. Just as I was about to turn the valve, the door opened. The ceremony master and 3 guards entered. "How touching," said the ceremony master. "2 heroes trying to save the world." "Too late," I said. "The plan has already begun." "What plan, Morrison? Sabotaging the water system? That's too simple." One of the guardians raised his hand, and the water pipe closed on its own. "The laws of physics work differently here, Morrison. We are like gods here." Samuel lunged forward and attacked the guardian. But this time, it was different. Samuel's eyes glowed brightly and truly affected the guardian. "James, now." I turned the valve. Water began to flow toward the crystal. At the moment of first contact, a tremendous light burst forth. The crystal began to crack. The energy inside was spiraling out of control. The ceremony master screamed, "Stop it!" But it was too late. The crystal began to shatter. At that moment, the entire underground complex shook. The sounds from above suddenly ceased. The great ritual had been disrupted, and the system was beginning to collapse. When the crystal shattered completely, an incredible wave of energy spread out. All electronic systems shut down. The guards fell to the ground, screaming in agony. The ceremony master's appearance began to change. His youthful exterior vanished, revealing his true age. He became a man of hundreds of years old. What did you do?" he whispered. "A system thousands of years old." He fell and stopped moving. Samuel was also affected. He was weakened but still alive. "James, we did it." "Samuel, are you okay?" That glow is gone from my eyes. I'm normal now. Tired, but normal. The underground complex continued to collapse. Even the elevators weren't working in this emergency. We have to use the stairs. We climbed 7 levels of stairs to support Samuel. There was chaos on the upper levels. The other powerful members had also been affected. Members of the royal family had reverted to old age and become powerless. When we reached the main floor, we were in the normal Windsor corridors, but the castle was silent. No one was working. When we stepped outside the castle, the sky was brightening. I checked my phone. There was a message from Emma. "James, the kids are completely back to normal. They're not having any bad dreams anymore." I opened the news. There were strange reports worldwide. Worldwide, elderly elite figures have been struck by sudden aging syndrome. Thousands of children have mysteriously returned to their families. Mass memory loss among Kuluaral leaders. "Samuel, what are you going to do?" "My family is still alive. I need to find Margaret and Sarah. They were also affected by the system." "Can you do it?" "The system is gone now, James. Everyone is starting to return to normal. It will take time, but they will recover." The first day after leaving Windsor, we saw incredible news on television. Emma and the children stayed safely at home, following developments. Breaking news. Mysterious events occurred simultaneously in more than 50 countries around the world. Thousands of children were rescued from secret locations. In London, a group of elderly people collapsed in the middle of the street and were taken to the hospital. Their ages appear to have suddenly increased. Official statement from Buckingham Palace. Members of the royal family have been hospitalized due to health issues. Tom asked, while watching TV. "Dad, is this related to what we're going through?" "Yes, son. We stopped some very bad people. Now the world is safer." Lucy added, "I won't have bad dreams anymore, right?" "No, sweetheart. You're safe now." On the third day, Samuel called. His voice was very tired but hopeful. "James, I found Margaret. She's in the hospital but alive. Her memory is slowly coming back." "What about Sarah?" "She's more difficult. The system affected her very deeply, but she's free now. She needs rehabilitation. Is there a problem?" "It's not a problem, but—" "James, the system isn't completely gone." My heart sank. "What do you mean?" "The main center was destroyed, but there are small remnants around the world. They could try to strengthen themselves on their own. So it's not over? The main battle is over, but we'll always have to be vigilant." A week later, Emma showed me a strange news report on TV. Mysterious lights have been seen around an old castle in Scotland. Local residents report hearing strange noises at night. This sounded very familiar. "James, could this be another system center?" "It could be. Like Samuel said, the main center was destroyed, but there are remnants." That evening, Samuel called. "James, did you see the news about Scotland?" "I did. What are we going to do?" "We need to assemble a team. We're the experts in this now. We have to protect the world. I can't leave my family, Samuel. I understand. But you'll help when needed, right?" "Of course." 2 weeks later, I noticed a strange ability in Tom. Sometimes he could guess what people were thinking. "Tom, how did you know your mom wanted chocolate?" "I don't know, Dad. I just feel it." Emma was worried. "James, could the system have caused permanent changes in Tom?" "I don't know. But it doesn't seem like a bad thing." Lucy had changes too. She was much more empathetic, seemed to understand animals. That night I called Samuel. "Samuel, could the children have system remnants?" "Possible. But James, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Maybe it gave them the skills they'll need to fight the system in the future." A month later, Samuel made an official offer. "James, we've formed an organization called the Guardian Network. We monitor system remnants worldwide and intervene when necessary." "Who's involved?" "Families like ours who escaped. The system, former agents, some government officials. We work in secret." "What will my role be?" "You could be the UK coordinator. You live with your family, continue your normal life. But you step in when needed." "Will my children be safe?" "James, your children are now potential fighters. We may need to train them." 2 months later, the first mission came. It was reported that children were starting to disappear near Newcastle. I told Emma, "Darling, I have to go away for a few days." "James, no. We were just starting a new normal life." "This time it's different. It's just research. I'll go." With a Samuel, Tom chimed in. "Dad, can I come too? I can sense those kids." "Tom, it's too dangerous. But Dad, I'm part of this now." Emma was very worried, but she finally agreed. "But only if you stay safe. At the first sign of danger, you come back." Samuel, Tom, and I went to Newcastle. Tom really could sense the missing children. "Dad, they're underground, very deep, and very scared. We found an old cave system. Inside, a small remnant system was active, primitive by Windsor's standards, but still dangerous." "This is an escape cell," said Samuel. "They started operating on their own after the main system collapsed." Tom could speak strangely. "Dad, the man down there is very old and very angry. He knows he can't succeed." This time, it was much easier. Without the power of the main system, these remnants were very weak. Samuel and I bypassed the security systems in a few hours and rescued the children. The old man, probably a local system representative, was nearly on his deathbed. He had been badly affected, when the main crystal collapsed. You ruined everything," he whispered. "We ruined the kidnapping," I said, "and we'll do it again if we have to." When we returned from Newcastle, Emma and Lucy were waiting for us at the lifeboat. Tom told them everything. "Mom, I was able to help my dad. I found the children." Lucy asked, "Can I come next time?" Emma laughed. "Come on, don't be silly. You're still too young." But Tom spoke seriously. "Mom, we have to do this job, because only we can do it." The Guardian Network carried out 3 more major operations in 6 months. Each time, we were successful. The system remnants were gradually diminishing. I returned to my regular job, not in Windsor, of course, but working as a security specialist at the local police department. The children went back to school, but they were different now. Tom was much more mature, Lucy much stronger. Emma had changed, too. "James, I understand how important this is now. We have to do this as a family." One evening, Samuel came to our house. He had brought Margaret and Sarah with him. Sarah was still recovering, but she was much better. "James, I have big news," Samuel said. "We found the last piece of the system in Russia." "A big operation?" "The biggest, but this time we'll be an international team. Americans, Europeans, Asians, all together." Tom asked, "Uncle Samuel, can I come too?" Sarah replied, "Tom, you're not ready yet, but you will be soon. I'm going on the first reconnaissance mission." Emma asked, anxiously, "Sarah, are you okay?" "I'm fine now, Auntie, and destroying the system is my job too." That night, Samuel and I talked outside. "James, this will be the last big operation. If we destroy the remnants in Russia too, the system will be completely gone. Are you sure?" "We can't be 100% sure, but we're very powerful now. The Guardian Network has 200 active operators worldwide. What about my children? They will be the protectors of the next generation, James. Tom's abilities are growing very strong. Lucy's too." That night, before going to bed, I spoke to my children. "Kids, our adventure is coming to a big conclusion." Tom, "Dad, will I be a normal kid when it's over?" Tom, "You were never a normal kid, but that's not a bad thing." Lucy, "Dad, will the world really be safe?" Lucy, "We'll do everything we can to make it safe." 2 weeks later, Samuel called. The ruins they had discovered near Moscow were much larger than they had thought. "James, this isn't just ruins. It's the backup center for the main system. After Windsor was destroyed, all power was transferred. Here. So the system never actually ended?" "Not exactly, but now it's weak. If we miss tonight, they could regain strength." Emma was listening to our conversation while making coffee in the kitchen. "James, you can't go this time. It's too dangerous." "Emma, this is the final battle. If I don't go, everything will start over." Tom and Lucy shouted from the living room, "Dad, we're coming too. Kids, this is too dangerous. You're not old enough." But Tom was determined. "Dad, I saw it in my dream. We need to be part of this operation. You won't succeed without us." Emma was shocked. "Tom, what are you saying?" "Mom, I'm not a normal kid anymore. I'm connected to the system, like Sarah." That evening we had a family meeting. Sarah joined us too, because she was like part of our family now. "Kids," I said, "this is a real war. People could die." Lucy replied, "Dad, but we're special kids. We were born to fight the system." Sarah added, "Uncle James, Tom, and Lucy are right. I was inside the system for 2 years. Their energy is very powerful. Only they can sense the remnant in Russia." Emma started crying. I don't want to lose my children." "You won't lose them, Mom," said Tom, "because we are very powerful now." Finally, Emma agreed. "Okay, but we're all going together as a family." We flew to Moscow on the Guardian Network's private jet. There was an international team of 20 people on the plane. Americans, Europeans, even Asians who were victims of the old system. Tom was acting strangely on the plane. "Dad, I feel stronger as we get closer." "What kind of powerful?" "It's like there are voices in my head. They're speaking Russian, but I understand them. Lucy was affected too. I feel it too. There's a very old voice, very angry." Sarah tried to calm them down. "It's normal. I used to feel it when I approached Windsor. There was a relic center in an old monastery near Moscow. Samuel and the Russian team had scouted it out beforehand. It's much bigger," said Samuel, "at least 5 times bigger than Windsor, and much older, 1,000 years old, according to some sources." The Russian team leader, Dmitry, spoke. "This place is very dangerous. Even during Soviet times, they couldn't enter here." Strange things happened. Tom asked, "Uncle Dmitry, do you hear children's voices coming from there?" Dmitry was surprised. "How did you know?" "Yes, you can. Hear children crying at night." "They're still there," said Lucy. "They're very scared." That night, as we approached the monastery, the weather changed. It got very cold, and a strange fog descended. Tom and Lucy were very tense. "Dad, they've noticed us. They're very angry." The monastery's entrance doors opened by themselves. Was this an invitation or a trap? When we entered, there were old stone corridors in front of us, but on the walls were symbols much older than those at Windsor. "This is Slavic paganism," said Dmitry, "long before Christianity." The main hall was huge. In the center was a massive stone platform, and on the platform, hundreds of children lay. But they weren't unconscious. They looked very old. Sarah held her breath. "These aren't normal children. They're far too old." When we looked at the nearest child, we saw an 8-9-year-old girl, but with centuries of wisdom in her eyes. "We've been waiting here for 100 years, the girl said in Russian. Tom translated. "What are you waiting for?" "For the main system to return. When Windsor fell, we were orphaned, but now you've come." Lucy approached the girl. "How are you so old?" "The system protects us. Our bodies are children, but our souls are ancient." At that moment, a figure emerged from behind the platform. He was even older than the ceremony master. He looked almost mummified. "Welcome," he said, with an old Slavic accent. "I am Boyar Kazimir, the guardian of these lands for 1,000 years. Are you the one who runs the system?" "I am the one who built the system. Windsor is just a branch. This is the main route." Tom stepped forward. "You're too old. It's time for you to go." Casimir smiled. "Little boy, you don't understand the system's power yet. I found the children bound to Windsor, you and your sister." Lucy began to tremble. "Dad, he's trying to draw us to him." At that moment, Tom and Lucy's eyes flashed, but it wasn't the system's glow. It was a much purer, much stronger light. "You're wrong, old man," said Tom. "We are not the children of the system. We are the enemies of the system." They reached out their hands, and the old children on the platform awoke. "It's time to be free," said Lucy. The 1,000-year-old weariness in the old children's eyes vanished. Suddenly they began to look like normal children. Casimir was furious. "This is impossible. I've been controlling them for centuries." But Tom and Lucy's power was too great. The entire platform's energy system began to collapse. Samuel and the team quickly got to work. They were cutting the main power cables, sabotaging the water system. Emma and I were protecting the children. Casimir tried to attack them with his last ounce of strength. Emma, protect the children. But Emma didn't need to protect them. Tom and Lucy were now too powerful. Casimir's attacks had no effect on them. When the main power source was destroyed, Casimir's appearance changed. His mummified form began to disintegrate. 1,000 years. I worked for 1,000 years. He whispered. Everything was for nothing. And finally, he vanished. All the children on the platform woke up, but they were now their normal ages. The system's spell was completely broken. When we returned from Moscow, my children had completely changed. They were much more mature, much stronger, but also happy. "Dad," said Tom, "the voices in my head are gone. There are only your thoughts now." "Me too," said Lucy, "but I can still sense special things." Emma asked, "Is it over now?" Samuel replied, "The main system is completely gone, but James's family is now an important part of the Guardian network. There may be new threats in the future." The Guardian network became officially recognized worldwide. We were working in cooperation with ONT. I was now the UK Guardian coordinator. Emma worked in the training unit. Tom and Lucy were receiving special training. They were learning to control their powers, to use them only when necessary. "Dad," Tom said one evening, "aren't we ever going to be normal kids?" "Tom, you are a normal kid. You just have special abilities." "Then what will I use these abilities for? Maybe to protect other children in the future." 5 years later, the Guardian Network School opened. Children who were victims of the system worldwide were educated here. Tom is now 17 and the leader of the Guardian Network's youth division. Lucy is 14 and works in the research unit. We went to Samuel and Margaret's house. Sarah was studying psychology at university and helping children who were victims of the system. "James," said Samuel, 5 years ago, did you know you would experience these things?" "It never crossed my mind. But now I'm very proud." Emma added, "Our children have made the world a safer place." That evening, while sitting at home, there was a news report on TV. Guardian Network's 5th year. 10,000 children saved worldwide. Illegal organizations under investigation. Tom turned off the TV. "Dad, there's a new mission tomorrow in South America." "Again?" "Yes, but this time it will be easy. We're very experienced now." Lucy added, "And we're not afraid anymore, because we work together as a family." Emma smiled. "Who knows? Maybe one day we can be a normal family." "Mom," said Tom, "we already are a normal family. We just have some special work to do." And we all laughed together, because we knew that dark forces would always exist, but so would the people who fight against them, and our family is the best example of that.